going to be a good one. We've got a great crowd out here, too. And many of the drivers here in Edmonton, they are just happy to leave Toronto in one piece. Get this, more than half of the field was involved in contact or a spin of some kind. And after the checkered flag, tempers really boiled over. We thought we might be settling things this way, which this works. We're in Canada, right? They love their hockey up here. But a lot of the drivers, they let their fingers do the talking on Twitter. Not sure if you're on Twitter. The IndyCar Nation is huge there, and you would have gotten a pretty good show after the Toronto race. Well, take a look at this, and then we're going to let them tell you what they have to say about it, but we're going to give them more than 140 characters.
And Takuma Sato, both fighting for the same piece of real estate. Sato's day is done. Elio Castroneves lost control and buries it deep into the tires. Mario Romancini made contact and got spun around.
IndyCar officials have levied a penalty against Mario Moraes.
The 0-2 of Graham Rahal drove up underneath the 6th machine of Ryan Briscoe, spun him around and knocked part of the wing assembly off the car.
Oh no, we got another crash. Oh, it is Matos, and now the 20th incident involving a KV racing machine.
EJ Viso and Matos is in the tire barrier.
Thomas Scheckter and Alex Tagliani contact. Deja vu all over again. Those two had contact and issues a year ago.
There's no way that I would do anything intentionally, if that's what you're trying to say.
But it was like straightforward, you know, like, hey, it's the payback, you know, you, just, you know, like, see you later, you know, it's just weird.
You can go cry. Come speak to me if you want to speak to me. Otherwise, you know, he's just crying. It's over with, it's done, you know, move on to Edmonton.
We have our own little rumble in Edmonton here. Yourself, Thomas Scheckter, a lot has happened since last week in Toronto. What has happened?
Pretty much nothing since Toronto. I was quite upset for over-optimistic move and end our race in the wall. And I find out what I needed to find out after the race from him, what he was all about, and that was it. Once that was over, I just came here and focused on another race.
But you talked to me and said that he was holding a grudge from last year. He said, well, it's payback.
Yeah, and that's the weirdest thing. And when I find that out, there was nothing else I needed to find out from him. You know, when you hold a grudge from a year, and that's the reason why you give the payback to another driver on track, is pretty low.
Try and focus on this year. I'm noticing some different colors. You have a Hot Wheel on your hand. You're the new representative for Hot Wheels Canada.
Yeah, I used to throw the Hot Wheels cars down the garage at my mom's house, and I had the bright idea of throwing a bunch of flour on the floor and make a little track, and that was the end of my Hot Wheels life. But now I drive the real size one.
Yeah, the real life starts out now. But just like two kids playing with their Hot Wheels when they're kids, you know you're going to have a tussle. That looks like the same thing we have between Alex and Thomas Scheckter.
Well, let's check in with the other side to the story. Alex Tagliani, we've heard from. Now we hear from Thomas Scheckter. What's up with all these tweets and these back and forth between you and Tags?
Like I said, he probably needs a pacifier to stop him crying so much. But, you know, I've explained a million times what happened. You know, my focus now is doing a good job. Monavi's happy to come on board again here for Edmonton and just working very hard. It's a tough race. We qualified in the top 12. We've done a great job. It's going to be a very tough race ahead of us. So, you know, that's what I'm going to focus on.
When you have that kind of focus, though, does there ever enter into your mind during the course of the race what's been transpiring? And it seems like, from his standpoint, for the last year or so. And how do you get that out of your mind?
Well, I hope he's losing sleep over it, because I'm not. You know, I don't worry about it all. I'm racing, and that's what I do. Whether he wants to do anything or not, that's fine. But I don't care. I've got enough problems without Tagliani, so I'll just concentrate on what I have to do.
Good luck, Thomas.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Jack. We definitely want to keep an eye on those two guys as we race today. By the way, coming up later in the show, we've got a special feature story on Alex Tagliani, and he's one of two Canadian drivers racing today. Of course, the other is Paul Tracy. And by the way, Alex and Thomas were not the only drivers to have a Twitter debate after that Toronto race. Ryan Briscoe and Graham Rahal had their own back and forth on their late turn 3 contact. Take a look at what they had to say. You're going to want to look at your screen right now. You can see Briscoe and Rahal going back and forth. You know, Briscoe saying, you know, make a clean move instead of punting me. Rahal saying, I made tons of clean moves today. Ryan wrote, Graham simply screwed up today and can't man up. To which Rahal responded, if I were rough driving and Briscoe wasn't blocking, Chief Steward Brian Barnhart would have given me a penalty. End of discussion. Well, Graham Rahal is not racing this week in Edmonton. However, we are going to see him in Mid-Ohio, but Robbie is standing by with Ryan Briscoe.
Some tweet sparring between @RyanBriscoe6 and @Graham Rahal on the Twitter. What's going on between you guys?
I think it's water under the bridge now. We probably got a bit overboard with Twitter after the race in Toronto. A few, tempers were flaring, and we sort of let it go a little bit. But I have a lot of respect for Graham. He's a great driver, and I'm sure nothing he did in Toronto was intentional. So I was hoping he'd be here just so we could sort of settle things once and for all. But I'm really happy about being here in Edmonton. The car's great. I'm really looking forward to the race. Qualifying wasn't as good as I was hoping. I was hoping to be a bit better than 5th, but I think I got a really good race car, so hopefully we can move up from there.
Word was yesterday you might have went the wrong direction, trying to get that pole like you've done before here at Edmonton.
Yeah, we've been good all weekend, and the car's been really solid, and we're just looking for a little bit extra front grip, and we made some pretty big changes, just sort of listening to what had been run on the other 2 cars in the team as well, and I tried it, and I just got really loose into the corners. I couldn't attack, and we sort of took a step backwards. So at least we learned from it. It was good to make it into the Fast 6, as challenging as it was, but I think we learned from it, and it should be a good car today.
All 3 Penske cars in the top 5. Watch out for Ryan Briscoe.
And outside of Will Power, it was Woe Canada for Team Penske in Toronto. Ryan's 18th place finish and Elio's 24th place represented the worst showing for those 2 cars at a single race since Ryan joined the team. Last week, Danica Patrick finished 6th in Toronto, her best road or street course result of the season. Today, Danica will start 21st, but keep in mind, she also started 21st in St. Pete and ended up in 7th. Speaking of 7th, that's where rookie Simona Di Silvestro will start today. Her career best IZOD IndyCar starting position. We'll talk to her when we return here in Edmonton.
I was on the wheel when I was 2.5 years old. I just loved the feeling of moving fast. About high school time, I got a road bike and really got into the competition world. And so as university, I was seriously competing, and I really loved it. Mentally competing on a bicycle, but of course in my heart, something missing is always mud racing. I'm a big fan of the bike racing, and the Tour de France is the pinnacle of road racing. One opportunity I had was called Étape de Tour. There was a week before Tour de France. Used exactly the same course, so 8,000 people entered. In the front line, Alain Prost and Miguel Indurain, and I really enjoyed it. One day, if I had any chance to ride on some professional, that'd be a dream.
After a strong oval race at Iowa where Takuma Sato ran as high as 3rd, he had his best IZOD IndyCar finish on the road course at Watkins Glen. Today, he will try to improve on his 25th place result in Toronto. And with Takuma's start in cycling, I'd imagine he caught a few stages of the Tour de France. It actually finished today. After our race today, you can catch the final stage right here on Versus. And on another Versus note, for more IndyCar info, including Will Power's blog and This Week in Indy with Lindy, you just need to check out Versus.com. Well, we have some driver news to report. The Indy Racing League has placed Milka Duno on probation for the remainder of this season, and that is for, quote, not consistently meeting minimal performance standards. Track officials withdrew Milka from last week's race in Toronto for driving too slowly. On a road course and a street course, the standard is based on time, and that is expected to be 107% of the lead car. So, of course, we'll keep you posted on what's going on there. Duno will start last today. She's starting 25th, while Danica Patrick starts 21st. The top qualifier of the 3 women is Swiss rookie Simona Di Silvestro. Coming off her career best finish of 9th last week in Toronto, Simona starts today from a career-high 7th spot, and she's standing by with Jack.
Along with Simona, we have Keith Wiggins, who is the owner of HVM Racing. And Keith, very quickly, I want to find out from you what you think is the key to Simona's performance here thus far.
Well, I think, first of all, her talent. We've got some good support with the trainer, and as always, a team effort. Everybody went. She was good on feedback, and we managed to get the car right. So
now, you've won here before, but it was in an Atlantic car. Can you transfer anything from up here? to this racetrack?
You know, it's very different with the IndyCar. It's much faster and everything. So, and the race is going to be much longer, much tougher. But you know, it was nice to kind of know the track here before, and I'm really happy to be starting